8th grade, we're going to work on a fall design for this week and next. So we will be tracing some leaf patterns to come up with a radial design, which means a circular design of our choosing. And then we are going to add some patterns and some color to it for kind of a fall picture. So we are going to get started with that now. Okay, let's get started. We want to turn to a new page in our sketchbook, all right? And for you guys that are at home, there's a file that should have different kinds of leaves on them. So you've got some that are a little more detailed, and you've got some that are a little less detailed, more rounded edges and things like that. We're going to use these to help transfer our picture. So if you have a printer, that would be great. Print these off. It'll make your design, your radial design, a little bit easier. And if you don't, then you're going to have to just try to draw them. I would recommend drawing these. They're a little easier to follow. All right. So what we want to do is we want to get in the mindset of having our design go radial. So you can have this go portrait style if you want. You could turn it so that it's landscape. Totally up to you, however you want to show it. But I'm going to use this to start to create my design. Now, I'm picking some leaves that I think I want to use. The nice part is this is all pencil, so we can erase as we go. You can see that I've already started using this, obviously, for my example. So in order to transfer some of these on there, all I do is just kind of add a little pencil to the back, making sure that I am covering the leaf that is underneath it, or the ones that I want to use, and then that makes my design a little bit easier. So what I can do is I'm kind of looking at the center, and things are going to kind of go in a circle, so I just want to make sure everything fits pretty well. I'm just going to start in the middle. I'm starting with a larger one. You could start with smaller ones. Not really any wrong way to get this going. But in a radial design, our pattern kind of goes from the center like a wheel, wagon wheel or a car wheel, and so we want to continue that. So I'm not sure how well this shows up. I'm going to go over it real quick, but this is the one that I've just transferred over. So you can see how it's pushed the pencil down onto my paper. And I will take that design and repeat it 3 more times in my circle. So this is going to end up being the center. So I've got it here, and I'm going to go off to the right side. And I have to pick it up to kind of see where the stem is going to be. I just want to get it close. I also want to make sure it's going to stay on the paper here. So I'm going to trace it and rotate it so that it goes in my radial design. All right, so I've got one over here to the right, and then I'm going to line it up over here down, facing downward. And we really just want to get them kind of close so that our design element is achieved. And I'll go as quick as I can. All right. So I've got that one, and then my last one is going to go here, and it looks like I'm going to be off the page, so I got to try to arrange it so that it is not. All right. So tips we learn as we go, that when we start this, could even start with the one closest to the binding so that we can make sure that it fits on the page. So I'll zoom in on that real quick. You can see my nice radial design, and I am going to go from there. All right. So actually, I've got one that I have Xerox copied for you guys. All right. That fit the page a little bit better. So there was the original leaf that I started with, and then I went in with a smaller one in between. Same thing. Repeated it 4 times. And you don't have to use the entire leaf. So my larger one here, I've decided to use the top and the bottom, and I'll show you my final in a little bit here. So I just traced the top so that it would get that unique design rotating around. Kind of looks like a leaf snowflake a little bit. And then I actually went in with the bottom and continued my design so that it showed up in the center as well. I like that center point, and so here is the bottom of that leaf. So you can have leaves overlap each other. The nice part about it being pencil is you can try a few things out. Are they 100% in the same area? No, but they still give a nice element of that radial design. And then I'm going to see if I'm going to add some more. You know, we could go out. We just want to make sure it doesn't go off the page. We want to have a nice picture right in there. I could possibly do some smaller stuff inside of these. So I'm going to take some time and look at that and see what I can come up with. Okay, we're going to start to work on our design. So I added a little bit more in the center here to keep my design, my nice radial balanced design. And now we want to give the leaves a little bit of a design element. So I'm going to use my ruler for some things. You can freehand a lot of this stuff. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm consistent with each leaf, right? So I think what I'm just going to do is start to go down the center of these leaves here. I realize that my drawing is a little off center, but that's okay. We've still got a nice picture going on there. So I divided those up. Technically, I could go in and give each one of these their own design. I could go in and draw it. I could go in and color each one of these. We kind of have to decide those things as we go. What I think I want to do is on the bottom half here, or I guess the right side, I'm going to go in with some stripes. And you got to think about how you're putting things down. And I say that because I just started putting those stripes down, and now I want to try to keep them consistent with the rest. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to try to keep it at 11 so they at least look similar. And I'm going to keep that going with all of them on that right side. So, are they going to match up 100%? Probably not. But they're going to look very similar, and they're going to keep that design going. There'll be some things that you'll really have to watch as you start to do this, just to make sure that you've got them in the correct order. I wouldn't want to keep going and then all of a sudden do my lines on this side for this one. It will throw the whole design off. All right, so now I've got those stripes there. I could do something else for this side. I could leave it plain. But whatever I do for one, I want to try to make sure that I do the same for all the rest. So I'm going to work on that, and you guys work on yours. All right, for you guys that are at home, the in-person learners are probably going to get to this step, and they might start the coloring part, but really they're working on getting the tracings and the balance. And I added a few lines. You just got to make sure that whatever's happening, try to get it to happen in all the areas in the circle. So when you start to color, which is what we'll continue on next week, so if you're a remote learner, and you want to stop here, next week will be the coloring part, or you can color and then not have this next week That's totally up to you. We're going to be using whatever that we have available, colored pencil, marker. Just make sure that you're still coming up with a nice, decent plan for what you're doing. If I color this part orange that doesn't have the circle in it, I want to make sure that I do the same for all of those. Keep that radial pattern working. So get creative. You know, there's stripes in here, so I'm not just going to color over the top of this with just orange. I'll probably have maybe an alternating color or 2-3 colors that rotate, and then there might even be a different color for the lines. So you can do quite a bit. You can use markers, crayons, colored pencils, highlighter, whatever you got. If you use marker, try to make sure you got something underneath the sketch so that it doesn't go through onto some other papers, and then just keep that balance going with however you're going to color it. And you can even get creative with some of the coloring that you're going to do inside. There could be some shading from darks to lights, so it doesn't have to necessarily be just a solid color. All right. If you're using marker, think about different ways of layering. Maybe you put some colored pencil down and then you go over it with marker. So there can be a mixture of the medias that you are using. All right. I'm going to start working on mine and you work on yours. All right, so I've gotten a little ways in mind. I wanted you to see how I kind of stayed in the same area and then I just rotated it and made sure that when I was coloring, I got the same coloring in the other areas. So my design's turning out pretty good. I'm going to continue working on it. This is what we'll be working on this week and next. So like I said, for you guys that are remote learning, if you color this week and get done, then you'll have nothing for next week. And have a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully I see you guys soon. And if not, if you want to wait and save the coloring for the next time, that's what they'll be working on in class or finishing that up. All right? So take care and we'll see you soon.